Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Track Limits presented by Formula Addict. The Miami race just ended. We are here in the studio at Creator Club in Toronto, and pretty eventful race. I mean, at this point, I feel like the race reflection episodes should probably just be renamed to how many laps did it take Max to catch up to Checo? But what do we all think right away? Yes, happy, excited, not excited? Everyone's so sad.
I'm happy. You're happy. Finish for a Red Bull, so I can't complain here.
Amazing. Well, let's go through everything. I mean, number one, recapping the race, we had Max in P1, brilliant drive coming from P9. You had Checo, who was starting on pole, coming into P2. And then we had a couple of other people. We had Alonso, who's back on the podium with third. We had a fourth place to George Russell, quite the surprise in my opinion, but amazing to see. Carlos Sainz in fifth. We had Lewis in sixth, Charles Leclerc in seventh, where he started, Gasly in eighth, Ocon in ninth, and then 10 to Magnussen, who started in P4. That was the entire running. What did we all think? Henny, why don't you kick us off? Because you're obviously happy, but I'm curious, did you enjoy the race?
As a Red Bull fan, yes. But if we remove Red Bull out of the picture, there needs to be something happening. This is going to become a trend where we're going to see a 1-2 finish almost every race, and having 30-second gap after 20, 25 laps, it's getting out of hand. Like, I don't know if it means the teams have to push for better packages when they're introducing, or does FIA need to step in again with the regulations? That's another discussion that we need to have.
What do you guys think?
Well, maybe other teams can catch up to Red Bull because they have got the penalty in the aero tunnel.
Yes, coming
and
in.
maybe I remember you were saying earlier, Henny, as well, that they are going to potentially stop developing this year's car and start developing next year's car.
In the summer break,
So it's only 4 races. Is it 5 races?
Five
races. Yeah, there's a long way to go. So let's see what happens. But yeah, it wasn't the most exciting of races. Still a good battle in the midfield as well.
Yeah,
there was a lot going on there. So
100%. I think coming back off the back of Baku, which wasn't as eventful, I was really hoping for some action. And this one, so I guess the lack of even a virtual safety car where maybe the pit strategy might have changed for most. I mean, it was such a clean race. Max had one strategy. Well, I'm sure there were multiple strategies, but the most obvious strategy, got him. Go as long as you can. Great drive for him. But yeah, I'm concerned potentially about the new fans that have kind of come into F1 that perhaps from the drama of the Drive to Survive and all the fun and everything, maybe it might be not as action packed, and so will we start losing? Are we at in a dangerous zone for new F1 fans? So I want to see more.
I mean, I was talking to Henny about this. I feel like 2021 was obviously incredible. I kind of wish that they just let them do one more year
of this without regulation change.
Red Bull had finally caught up. We would have seen another title fight. We would have seen if Lewis could get back, and win in the way that he wanted to. But again, I mean, I know it's in the past. It's just clearly, like you said, Henny, the regulation doesn't seem to be working.
No.
So something needs to change. And I do agree. Maybe it comes down to, the FIA stepping in. Maybe we do see development from other teams coming in. We will talk about Imola, obviously, at the very end of this episode. Maybe we even talk about the tires.
We have
changing that up to maybe make it more of a 2 or 3 stop strategy versus a 1.
Yeah, you can't have hard tires go all the way to the last few laps. You just can't. And Max didn't even seem to be struggling on those tires.
No,
he didn't need to pit.
He just had the gap so he'd get lead. No,
and he took 8 people, so he had a lot of tire wear from all the overtakes, being in the dirty air, and he still can finish a whole race with
Bring
one
back
tire.
The super softs.
Those purples were beautiful.
Yes.
And then what about the rookies? I mean, clearly a very bad day for them. All at the bottom 3. De Vries, though, not the very bottom.
No.
Though he did cause quite a mess in turn 1. But, I mean, these rookies, they were performing well at the start of the season. They were showing great pace. I mean, what's happening?
But don't forget, they haven't raced this track, and F2 doesn't go there. So
that's very true.
This is all new to them. So imagine all the drivers last year, how they were struggling to adapt. So we got to give them a little bit of slack there as well.
Yep.
But not to change the subject, but why did McLaren start in softs?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because that put Piastri straight in the back foot, and he never really got going again. Sargent had to pit because he broke his front end plate. And then De Vries, obviously, he gave Lando a little encouragement, a little push.
He's like, you need the DRS. Here you go.
But yeah, no, they were all at the back, but no DNFs, so they all held together, which is good.
I think if you're a McLaren fan, you honestly have to be praying that you don't see Lando or Oscar pit in the first 10 laps for any race.
Honestly, McLaren's real competition here is to see who gets the most amount of sponsors at the end of the year.
At the end of the race.
And not even the race anymore.
I think it's like 43, 44 now. I think it's amazing
No,
sponsors.
it's like way past 50.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're on there. They just signed, I think, one last week, just now too.
We were
for this
joking that
race.
Zach Brown might be while he's doing his track walk before where all
He's
the
like,
he's just getting
sponsor,
all the celebrities,
sponsor.
talking to all the businessmen to like get them out of the sponsor.
So really, he's the smartest one.
Yeah, dude,
Smartest
he's
team.
ahead.
And then Magnussen. I mean, obviously that was incredible to see him be P4. I mean, we all kind of had a feeling he'd probably get eaten alive right away, but held it together and got P10. That's pretty big for Haas.
I mean, the fight he did with Charles. How many laps?
That was
fantastic.
That was a pretty exciting part. I was paying attention at that point. I was like, oh crap. Who is that? I was like, who's that? Is that a Haas?
He had the pace. He had the will to
continue fighting.
Continue. He didn't give up
Even
at
when
all.
Charles would go by him, it's like the next
coming
corner,
back.
bam, I'm back here.
There you go.
Magnussen's good at that. Like he you won't get an easy pass in Magnussen. He'll always put the elbows out, which is good.
We
So
need
it's
that.
nice to see that. Like,
Yeah.
Right. And then what about the best moment of the race, Mikey? What was kind of the one where you were like, I'm amped. This is the
Don't you
awesome
dare
moment.
take mine.
Yeah.
Wait.
what was yours, Henny?
No.
Yeah.
Let's
go
see.
first.
Best moment of the race? Nothing jumps out at me right now. Nothing's jumping out. At me.
Really? The Max double overtake?
I don't want to talk about it. There was a lot of battles. Like, I know everyone's giving Leclerc crap, but like he kind of held it together. He got back up there. It was good team points.
Yep.
No, there's nothing that stands out that I'm like I wanted to comment on. It was a good battle, but like nothing was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Any double overtake?
The double overtake was disgusting. Like, come on.
I'll give him credit to do that on hard tires, and the other two boys at mediums.
Yeah.
But they were also distracted when they were on the battle. Who was it? It was Leclerc and
Magnussen.
Magnussen. Yeah.
They were consumed with each other. But how Max got that boost of power straight off?
The camera lost him. Did you notice that? He went from the left to the right, and the camera couldn't even catch up.
Yeah.
That's how quick that
was
car
beautiful.
was.
That was beautiful. I don't want to admit that, but like, I've already done it.
Feven, what about you?
When Perez got ahead, when he came out, was it?
Ahead of Max?
Yes.
After
his pit?
Max
After his pit.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of a battle, or
Yeah.
I guess for like all of 3 seconds. That was fun. But honestly, like overall, Lewis coming in from P13 and just the amount of overtake, there was actual real racing and
That
overtaking.
overtake on Leclerc.
Yes.
He was given a tight window on the inside and he just went for it. And
that was
awesome.
beautiful.
Yeah.
You need that. You need that.
My other favorite moment actually was when George Russell made that comment. Is that like who's the head of Alonso? Is that Perez?
Yeah. It was just Sargent
We're that
getting
close to
lapped.
Red Bull? He's like, no, mate. That's just Sargent. You're like, oh, damn.
I feel like if I was an engineer, I'd want to troll him and be like, yeah, that
Yeah, that's
100%
him.
man.
Go chase
bump
him.
the pace. You got this. Mode push.
That's how we roll.
And then what about the biggest surprise or biggest letdown? Maybe Feven, you want to kick us off there? What was the biggest surprise or thing that you weren't that happy about in the race?
Things the rookies, I was rooting for them. I still am. That was a letdown, but I mean, again, as you said, this is a new track. I don't think I was let down. I really expected the outcome to be the way it was.
Yeah, you guys actually predicted this, right?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, we almost.
Perez. We predicted Perez.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah. So
we-
it was, we had Alonso third, and then it was supposed to be Perez Max, but Max just outdrove.
That was wishful thinking on my end. I had hoped that would be the case, but I knew Verstappen would probably
Get him.
get him.
Yeah. I mean, I was hoping for the rain when I put those prediction in. I was like, that's a lot of overtakes to do in the rain. So I anticipated Checo winning that race and him probably fighting with Alonso, but again, that didn't happen. But I think the biggest letdown would have been Stroll. Having the same amount of a car that Alonso had, and you finished what? 12.
Yep.
That was a disappointment.
He never had it in qualifying either.
Yeah.
He
That's the
was
problem,
starting on a bad foot already. Like
Yeah.
he was so far down the line.
Yeah.
I think Yuki did really well. Like
Really
Yuki,
well.
He's
Yuki
showing
was
up.
up in 11th and he was trying to push there for that last take.
Yeah.
And no, Yuki's like really proven himself valuable this year.
Yeah.
Nick De Vries is obviously still struggling a little bit, but no, Yuki was a standout.
Especially because that car is not great.
No,
And
I
he's
think
driving the hell
yeah,
out of
they're
it.
bottom
Yeah.
2 cars right now. With
Speaking
Williams.
of not great cars like Alfa Romeo, where are they? Like, what's going on there?
Well,
I have no
Valtteri
idea.
showed pace in qualifying.
did?
He
That was
did,
good.
yeah. That's probably the only time really. Like, getting going. But I don't know.
That's fair. Other than, for me, the biggest surprise, other than Roger Federer showing up as different.
Wow.
New
Was
look.
James,
Yeah.
was
New
it
look.
James?
I don't know who
Somebody-
that
It was
was.
an actor. It was an actor.
Yeah.
Somebody else. I was like, wait, what?
Someone mentioned his name. I can't remember his name.
But that's probably, my biggest kind of surprise generally. Let's hear, though, from one of the most recognizable content creators, Break. What was your biggest letdown or your biggest surprise?
Hey, Track Limits, it's Blake. So here's my most surprising thing from the race. And there's a lot of levels to this, but I'll keep it super short. I didn't expect Max to come through the field that quickly, but it goes to show you how closely these cars can follow. I think in the years past, we wouldn't have seen that happen so rapidly. And there's also quite a big pace difference between, the Red Bulls and the midfield. So that wasn't surprising. But one of the most interesting things, I think, is you heard a lot of dialogue between GP and Max on the radio talking about dialing in the brake balance and the differential settings. And Max was like, I'm struggling with this. This is where I'm losing out to my teammate. How can I go faster here? And that dialogue was super interesting to see. And it reminded me of back in the day a little bit. So really good job to the team. It sounded like afterwards people were talking like it was a slam dunks, but it was actually really close between Checo and Max the whole race. I think Max being able to go that much longer on the hard with that much pace earlier on was a massive benefit, and they were kind of out of sync at the end. But even looking back, I think that was a super interesting race. Maybe the TV direction left it a bit lacking, but that was actually a pretty good Formula race, even though it was a typical one-stop. You had a lot of teams on alternate strategies that made that enjoyable. So hope you guys are doing well.
So final question, Henny, what are we looking forward to next race? Imola is coming up. What do you think?
I'm just hoping for a lot of overtakes. Let's get back to real racing. I don't anticipate this gap going anywhere. The Red Bull's again gonna have that gap, but the middle field between Ferrari, Mercedes, and Aston Martin, let's see that real battle again. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's going to be a good battle between Ferrari, Aston Martin, Mercedes. And isn't there rumors that some people are bringing upgrades?
Almost every team with big
that's
packages.
going to be good to see. So let's see a bit more. And Imola is a proper racing track as well.
Exactly.
So it's kind of nice to get away from these street tight circuits and let's have like proper wheel-to-wheel action.
Mercedes upgrades coming, which we're obviously very happy about.
That could go like
It can go
really
both ways.
good or absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
I think it's not. A lot of people think it's going to change the whole side pod,
No.
though. And apparently Toto came out and said it's just suspension, aero, floor.
Yeah.
Which is a lot. But they were like, we want to bring more in. We just want to start off with getting the foundation right and then improving from there. So I don't think, again, we're going to expect, them to close the gap to Red Bull, but hopefully, Aston
The
Martin,
midfield.
Ferrari,
Yeah.
Mercedes,
gonna
that
be
fight
battle.
becomes even more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it on both of the Mercedes cars that are
Yes.
getting the upgrades?
Probably,
Yeah.
So all teams will bring both drivers up to speed. They won't give preference.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel it's too early.
Yeah, and
in the
they've
season
they've
and-
waited how many months
Yeah.
now without
Yeah.
big
Too long.
packages, right? So they have their stuff ready by now.
Yeah.
Feven, you?
Yeah, I'm really excited for the midfield
Yep.
battle. And Ferrari. I really hope that whatever upgrades Leclerc signs. Let's do this.
Just keep it on track, boys. Keep
Yeah,
it
keep
on
it on
track.
the track.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that qualifying was painful.
Imola is
for
also a
Leclerc.
fun track. I know we like
Yes.
sim racing
Oh, yeah.
on it
Oh,
all.
yeah.
Yes, it is fun.
It's a fun track, and
It
there's
is.
that one turn. I think, by the way, challenge. I think we have to do a drinking competition, even with water. I don't care, but drinking competition. Every time they say aqua minerale, it is that one
that's a turn.
sweeping
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
where it's very easy, like you said, to lose your rear end.
yeah.
But like, oh my god! Every time they say it, I'm like, wait, what are they saying? What? But it's such a cool looking turn.
Wasn't it last year as well? At the top of that turn, there's this super tight S-bend. Leclerc did a
Leclerc.
little 360
Yeah.
there last year.
Yeah. That was, I think, what gave up the lead for him. Because Max
yeah.
took advantage of that and then won.
Yes.
Pushing too hard again.
So that's incredible. Constructors looking pretty different. Not really. Aston Martin, Mercedes a little bit tighter.
Yes, much closer.
Red Bull running away with it.
Blitzing.
And then
through
what's the
pack.
gap right now on the driver's side? Max and Checo?
14 points.
14 points. Yeah.
Any
It's still
prediction
doable.
still? Like, does anyone here think Checo can still do it?
Do we have Max watching?
Here's the thing.
go.
I hope and wish that that could happen, but I really I think there aren't enough street circuits.
No. Yikes.
Max is a better driver.
Yeah, I think you said that last week or on our previous race reflection. We still haven't seen a real fight with both of them being on the same, let's say, tires, on the same strategy.
Yep.
And having that real fight, it's either like one of them is catching up to another, or there's something happening in the race.
There's a reason for that.
But there
as
will,
well.
I was
Yeah.
going to say,
You
but there
don't
will
want
never
them
be a
fighting.
reason why.
Well, to be fair, also, like, Henny's a point. I mean, even qualifying, I want to see more P1, P2 battles right away.
Exactly.
Like, I don't want to see Max charging up and then, you know, obviously strategies played a role in terms of why Max won. But again, he set himself up very well.
Yeah.
But I would love to see a P1, P2. Let's
Real
have them
fight.
start. And then let's have Alonso win.
That's exactly why they won't. That is the reason why they won't be on the same strategy. You
Like
will not.
never.
There will never be a reason why. Yeah.
Yeah, it won't happen.
The
I
same
wonder in
tires.
Imola are they going to do this little parade of the drivers out with all the cheerleaders and the fireworks or whatever going on?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it was just an American thing. Like that's
It
how
should
like
be only American
like WWE and like football.
walkout.
It's
The
a show.
walkout is like a that's an American thing.
But
Maybe
you
in Vegas.
were saying the walkouts.
I
might
think,
be,
yeah,
right?
they are proposing it to be for almost every race as a show, you know, to introduce it.
Okay.
What are they going to do in Monaco? Just park a yacht and have them all walk off?
Even better,
the
off the
boats.
yacht. Oh,
Yeah. Oh my god.
hey,
I
don't
don't
steal
know.
don't steal our ideas, FIA, where you know who you are.
Any final thoughts? No.
No, let's just forget about this weekend and move on to the next.
Hey, you should be happy with this
I
weekend.
am. But I also don't want, like I've said this from like the first
Yeah.
race. I do
Yeah.
not want Red Bull to be winning with this kind of
Yeah.
pace or gap. I want real racing.
You're a racing fan at the end of the day.
Exactly.
You're not
Yeah,
just a Red Bull
No.
fan. So.
No,
Exactly.
no.
We want to see tight battles on the track. That's what
100%.
makes it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed for Imola. Guys, if you tuned in, thanks again for supporting us. We are planning, by the way, to bring a bunch more guests onto the show and have them kind of share their viewpoints on some of these topics. We actually are going to have a few special guests
Oh,
even
yes,
coming
stay
up
tuned.
in the studio,
Yeah.
which I'm really excited about. So
Yes.
stay tuned. Thank you again, and we'll see you at the next race.